Hello everybody, welcome back. Deck Tech Modern
Magic.
Yes. So, I see Coretapper, so I'm already excited. What do we got?
This is my Build-a-Bane deck. So it is a Coretapper fast mana deck that is just going to kill the opponent in one go with Banefire.
Very large one.
So I guess we'll start with the creatures. We have, of course, our 4 Coretappers. This one, you can tap it to put a charge counter on an artifact you control, or sacrifice it to put 2 charge counters on an artifact you control. This, of course, is mainly used with the the Astral Cornucopia and the Everflowing Chalice, which, of course, tap for mana equal to the number of charge counters on either of them. 1 for colored, 1 for colorless. But yeah, you can get up to some stupid amounts of mana really quickly that way. Then the other creatures, of course, we have our Goblin Engineer.
Love this.
So when he enters, you can search your library for an artifact with... I don't think that one's limited by converted mana cost, actually.
It's not.
So you can search your library for an artifact and put it into your graveyard. And you can pay a red, tap, and sacrifice an artifact to return target artifact with converted mana cost 1 or less.
3.
3 or less.
3 less. Yeah.
3 or less. Which, of course, in this deck is only 1 or less. So I guess that's where I'm getting it from. But I guess it can return Coretappers, who can then sacrifice to...
Yeah. And
then he also works very well with the next creature, Emery, Lurker of the Nock, who has affinity, even though it's not listed affinity. It's affinity. And when she enters the battlefield, you mill the top 4 cards of your library, and you can tap to cast target artifact from your graveyard this turn.
Yep.
So, of course, this lets you, again, rebuy Coretappers for extra charge counters, or just put our Everflowing Chalices or Astral Cornucopias onto the field. You can always draw extra cards with the Archmaster Lab or Surge Snow for pump, and, of course, the one other artifact in the deck that we'll get to. Then, of course, Everflowing Chalice. So this one works with Kicker, or multi-kicker, and taps for colorless. Astral Cornucopia, I mean... Sometimes we'll actually kick this once, but mostly that's never going to cast. Astral Cornucopia requires 3 different X costs.
Yeah,
so
Astral Cornucopia. Astral Cornucopia. It costs XXX. Anyway.
So generally we're going to be casting it for 0 and then just putting charge counters on, the way that the card never intended. And of course, another way to do that is our Surge Node. So it's a 1 mana artifact that enters with 6 charge counters. And you can pay 1 mana, tap it, remove a charge counter, and put it onto another artifact.
And they serve a lot more purpose on these.
Quickly gets out of hand when you stick them on mana rocks. Then we have 4 Arkham's Astrolabe. So this is just an artifact, and when it enters, we draw a card. And it can also filter mana. So since we're not big on colored mana, but we do need it for our big spells, being able to filter the Everflowing Chalice mana into the single red we would need for Banefire is helpful. And it also helps power up one of our spells, Skred, who deals damage to target creature equal to the number of snow permanents we control.
Everyone loves a good Skred.
And, of course, our land base is all snow, so it gets pretty nasty after a while. Quickly outshines Lightning Bolt. Then we have 4 Tezzeret's Gambit. So a Phyrexian blue and 3 colorless lets us draw 2 cards and then proliferate. So just makes, as long as we have some charge counters on those, it just gets more. So it just helps us again, gets a little out of hand with the mana and draws us cards. And then we have our nice 2 shiny Pyromancer's Goggles. This one taps for red, and then any red instant or sorcery spell we cast with that mana gets doubled. So if we have a Pyromancer's Goggles, Banefire only has to be for 10.
Yeah. And that doesn't seem too unreasonable to hit pretty early.
No, if you've seen our other video that featured Coretapper, it could very quickly just cast an Emrakul, so the idea that we could just Banefire for 20 isn't outlandish, and Banefire for 10 can happen very quickly.
Yeah.
And, of course, so we can do tricks like Goblin Engineer searches for the goggles, and then Emery allows us to cast it from the graveyard. He, of course, can't return it himself, but he can put it in the graveyard for us in those cases.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have 4 Banefires, because we're not building a Bane if there's no Banefires.
Good point.
So, deals X damage, 1 red and X, deals X damage to target creature or player, and if X is 5 or more, it can be countered. So, there you go. They can't even respond to it, which is the nice thing about the Banefire.
Yeah. pretty much immune to everything. You can't exile it on the stack, though.
Yes, there's a few spells that
Or
can
give
do that.
yourself hexproof, I suppose. That's about the only options.
And then for our land base, we have 4 Prismatic Vistas. Since our mana base is all basic lands, Prismatic Vista just makes more sense than putting another, can only fetch 1/2 of the colors. Because we have 4 Scalding Tarn, since our deck is blue and red.
Yep.
We have 1 Steam Vents, because the deck doesn't really need one or the other. It's pretty easy to find like 1 island and 1 mountain, and that will serve us for the entire game. So Steam Vents, not too necessary, but sometimes you might need it. Then we have 1 Inventor's Fair, because, I mean, we're playing a bunch of artifacts, and if you need be, you can go fetch the goggles with Inventor's Fair, or just if you need like a Coretapper or something for more charge counters. It's always an option. 1 Academy Ruins. It's another way. So if we want to Goblin Engineer Pyromancer goggles into the graveyard, or even if Emery just mills it, we can put it back on top of our library to make
Or
sure
if you just want a Coretapper every turn.
Yes, or if you just want a Coretapper every turn, that is also a thing you can do. 1 Mystic Sanctuary. This does require a bit of setup because you have to have 3 islands, which I think doesn't count. Yeah, 2 other islands. So you need to have found 2 islands to make it work. But it does let us return a Scred if we need it. But mostly, like if Banefire gets milled by Emery and we haven't drawn another one, then this is an option that's fetchable to get it back in our hand.
Yeah.
And then for basics, of course, we have 4 islands because we want to make sure the Mystic Sanctuary has an easier time activating, and 3 mountains because
Snow stuff.
Snow stuff, and we need red for Banefire.
Yeah. All right. Exciting. And we'll see you tomorrow with these decks. Bye.